you guys built Sherlock, which is an amazing platform. And I'm interested to hear like the story of like how Sherlock started. What is Sherlock all about? Because I know that in the beginning it was more of like insurance DApp or platform, and then you shifted a bit towards like also auditing contents and competitive audits. So yeah, first, like if you can explain what is Sherlock is all about, how it started, and like the story behind it.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, continuing where we kind of left off, 2020, I was just trying to learn a lot. I was learning Solidity. I was trying to learn about different ecosystems. I think I spent like 3 or 4 months, maybe 2 to 3 months building like some RFC technology for iPhones for a dash blockchain kind of project. And
yeah, only the old school people know what is Dash blockchain. I know. It's
yeah,
like Dash and Monero and like yeah, Dash. It's like same like some kind of privacy blockchain, right? Dash, if I'm not wrong.
I don't actually remember if it was privacy or not. I just remember that I eventually figured out that there was just rampant corruption throughout the entire kind of governance structure of it, or at least that was my maybe it's changed since then. But it didn't seem like a lot of the grants and initiatives were really going to the right people in some ways. But what I really liked about it is that they were on the ground. Like they were on the ground in Venezuela, they were on the ground in Colombia, trying to actually get real usage. And so that's kind of what drew me to it. But anyways, I eventually figured out like, okay, there's some bad actors in this space, or at least, there are some things that I would be doing differently probably if it were my blockchain. And so, eventually got to Ethereum, and then eventually started doing, ETH global hackathons, that kind of thing. And Sherlock was something that, was kind of a rough idea in my head after reading a bunch of different things. I think I read the How to DeFi book and learned about different types of I guess, smart contract coverage plays, and just realized like, okay, there's probably a way to do this totally differently than it's been done right now, and do it in a way where it hopefully reaches kind of mass adoption and mass scale. And so, yeah, I mean, started out, I think it was January with a new hackathon, very quickly met my co-founder Evert in that hackathon. And, my intuition was like, okay, let's build the core team here. Like, let's get 5 people as the max you can get in a hackathon. I was like, all right, let's find 5 people. Let's get this thing going. Let's build it. And he was like, no, man. Like, I really like this idea. We need to keep this to 2 people. Like, you and I are going to build this in the hackathon. And I was like,
wow, I didn't know that Sherlock started as a hackathon idea.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Aave Market Make Hackathon or ETH Global Market Make Hackathon in early 2021. And so, yeah, we basically just built the MVP for it in that hackathon. Evert, my co-founder, he had been working in the blockchain space since like 2018, building smart contracts for projects like PiDAO and a few others that probably only, some OGs know. And yeah, so we got together. He built the smart contracts in the hackathon. I built the front end, in React. It was not the prettiest thing ever. But yeah, we came out of that. We got, some awards and whatnot. And, what did we do next? We went to Kernel. I would highly recommend Kernel to anybody who's thinking about starting a project or getting into crypto. That was the thing that really kicked it off for us, because we came out of the hackathon and there weren't like investors.
It's like accelerator or something?
Yeah. It's like, I think it's like an 8-week program where you just meet a bunch of people. They have different talks. Like, I've come and given some security talks now. It's a Gitcoin thing. So it's, shout out to Kernel and Gitcoin. Vivek runs it. He's awesome. Vivek Singh. And that was what really helped Sherlock kind of kick itself off. It was still, the market was definitely getting better. So I think we were, going into a good market, but that was where we met our early connections. That was where we met our lead investor, was through Kernel, and eventually did kind of like a demo day presentation at the end of it. And yeah, that was kind of the way that we were able to raise initial funding for Sherlock, flesh out a little bit more what the MVP was going to look like. And then over the next 6 months, we started building it. So that's kind of the origin story of Sherlock. And like I said before, the reason we wanted to build it was because people need to put their life savings into DeFi eventually, if that's the goal of DeFi. Obviously, there's different areas of crypto now that are also exciting. But in order to feel comfortable putting your money into DeFi, it's really difficult because there's not a single smart contract that is 100% provably safe. Even the Uniswap V1 contracts, like you can try your best, look at it a million times, but you can't prove to someone else that there's no bug in it. And that was kind of the aha moment for, okay, smart contract coverage is going to be important, because if you can never prove 100% safety, then you need to find someone else who can take that last risk. And ideally it's somebody who is, some kind of sophisticated institution who's doing it across 1,000 different applications on blockchains. And so when one goes bad and they have to pay out, for the hack, the other 999 are paying the premiums to make up for it, that kind of thing. So that seemed really, really important and like something that a mature DeFi ecosystem should have. I would say that's played out in some ways, not played out in others. It's been kind of a quieter couple of years in the smart contract coverage space. I'm still very bullish on it, still very excited about it. But the craziness of Terra, Luna, BlockFi, like all these things kind of made it so, okay, we're still a little bit earlier stage in terms of getting people into the right areas of DeFi and making it a more mature ecosystem. And so, that was Sherlock's initial idea was, okay, let's do smart contract coverage. And then as soon as we got our first clients for smart contract coverage, we also built our own protocol, and it was very complex. We made the classic kind of mistake of building a super complex V1 and then learning about, the real security stuff later on of, oh, wow, this is super hard to, ensure that it's safe. And so we actually quickly built a much simpler V2, but that's another story. We basically had some of the top audit firms audit the projects that we were trying to cover, audit our own protocol. And it was kind of like carnage in some ways, because we immediately paid out like a massive bug bounty after we had one of the best auditors in the space look at our code. Our initial clients were kind of all over the place with the quality of their audits and the experiences they were having. And so that was when it became really serious for us of like, oh, if we want to do smart contract coverage well at all, like if we want to have it be even viable, then we have to get this auditing thing right. Because this is the thing that's going to cause all of the exploits. Like if the audits aren't good and if the people doing the audits aren't good. So that was kind of the initial impetus to getting into auditing. And that was a whole nother journey, which, maybe we can talk about in a different question.